Welcome back to my latest pool breakout review. Tim here to break it all down for you. Today we got Advanced Shot Making Techniques Part 1. Go ahead and like the video right away and make sure you're subscribed because this is going to be a series of different techniques that once you put them all together and once you put in work on all of them, it's going to take your game to a new level, a whole new life-changing level. And that much I can guarantee. Let's get into it here. I want to, roll this one forward. Okay, I'm just bouncing it off the rail to make it easy. Got the 8-ball next. Here is my first tip. What I'm going to do here is try to cut this 8-ball into the side and try to avoid hitting any balls. And also go down the middle of the table at a certain speed so that the cue ball ends up toward the middle of the table. See, if you run into balls going up or down table, then you're almost guaranteed to get stuck on the end rails. And I'll show it to you again here. This time I'm going to let it roll forward a little bit to go in between the 2 and the 1 there as I pocket the 9 on the side. And I did hit into a ball on the way out, but that's usually going to be better than hitting a ball going up toward one of the end rails, because it's usually going to glance off it and go sideways, and you know what I'm saying, it's going to be going side to side instead of up and down, so it'll just get stuck up by the end rails. So 2 examples right there. And some of these leave ideas are the same as a shot making idea, because you got to give yourself a decent shot to be able to make in order to be able to make shots in the first place. Here I'm going to draw it back, and I'm just I tried to get a little further down table than that for those 2 down towards the end. All right, my first legitimate shot making technique, and I'll point this out several times during the rest of this video, as well as a couple other pro tips. Lining up with a shot, especially like this, you want to keep your shoulders level. Keep your shoulders level as you're coming up on the shot and lining it up. It'll help you gain a better perspective of your line of sight, so that I'm sure you've experienced, if you've gone through struggles like I have, where it's like you feel like you're aiming towards a certain point, but you're always like an inch or a half inch to the right of where you're aiming, to the point where you almost have to compensate and aim to either to the left or to the right of your point of aim, because you just know that you're just off. And I would encourage you not to compensate, but to fix your line of sight. One of the ways to do that is to keep your shoulders level, I think, anyway. And your eyes level. And it should help. So that's what you can kind of see me doing here. I mean, I'm taking my time during this rack because I'm having to hit a lot of these kind of tougher long shots. This is a 9-foot table. So especially when it's like just a tiny bit of angle and it's a longer shot, it's like I actually have to like stand up a little bit and look at this one again, because it just didn't feel right. It felt like my line of sight was to the right of my point of aim. but your margin for error is just really small. And there. That was nice. I had to kind of draw it off the side rail there to come back out toward the middle of the table. And I could have maybe followed it, but I feel more comfortable drawing. It just allows me to kind of stroke the ball. And you know, another tip I'll give you when it comes to when you're putting follow on the cue ball, it can definitely impact to the right or the left if you're not hitting it perfectly down the center. So just keep that in mind. That's one of the reasons I hate trying to follow my shots, especially if it's a tougher shot. Here I am. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that one I wanted to mention. See how I just rolled it forward 2 ball lengths, even though I hit it pretty hard? You can do that if it's a straight-on shot and you just aim a little high on the cue ball. So you're putting a slight amount of follow on it, maybe like a Q-tip or so. You know, maybe like a ½ an inch above center, you're hitting on the cue ball. If you hit it pretty hard so it doesn't have a chance to pick up momentum, then you can get it to just roll forward, you know, a couple ball lengths, which is important on that one. See, same thing I just did there, except it went a little further because it wasn't perfectly straight in. But I just aim a little bit high on the cue ball and hit it pretty hard. See, if you hit it soft, it's going to pick up momentum as it rolls. So you can experiment with that too. Here, you know, I want to, this is actually a tough one because, first of all, I hate this angle. This is the type of shot I miss. I usually undercut this, but I'm going to square up my shoulders, take a good look at it, make sure I got my line of sight. Just trying to figure out like what my options are here. Not for this particular shot, but these next 2 balls. Yeah, I'm trying to put pretty heavy draw on this one so it'll bounce off 2 rails back and forth across the table, but also come up table. But I know from experience that it's actually hard to, yeah, see, it's tough to get it to draw back up table. I mean, I could have put left English on it, but I didn't want to risk missing it. But that's a decent result. I do have a tough shot here. It's a long shot. It's a pretty small angle, which means, you know, it's just always a challenge to see exactly where you're aiming at and hit that spot perfectly. It's not close enough to the rail to where I can slide it off the rail at all. And here I want to hit it middle ball, have it come straight off the rail, back out to the middle of the table. Okay, looks like I got a little draw on it actually. And another tough shot, so it's one tough one after another, but I'm taking my time, you know. It's probably one of my longer videos. But yeah, I'm going to try to just draw it so it doesn't scratch. And there's a couple other things I want to get into in part 2, for sure. I already have a couple things. I'm going to come up with a few more things as well. There's a lot to talk about. But that gives you, you know, 2 or 3 things to think about. You can work on and try on your own. And if you watched up to this far. Make sure you comment down below